Hello, Professor Pearson, and welcome to another video by me. Um, so last time we met and we went over all the other, all the objectives and the initiatives that companies can do, and now we are going over CSR and ESG. And so we're gonna talk about Tesla since that's the company I chose, and so this should be a lot of fun. So go figure, Tesla, a company that's centered around environmental protection. Who would have thought? So, let's begin with some CSR discussion. So, in order to not reinvent the wheel, I'm going to steal a little bit of I'll call it a slideshow, that Tesla has put together on their website showing a good synopsis of a lot of their CSR initiatives. And so, let's jump on over to that. So, this is part of their impact report for 2023. And although CSR and ESG are very different, in terms of the technical descriptions of them, Tesla, under all of the research I did, treats CSR and ESG very, very similar. So their corporate social responsibility, they treat very similarly. They run a lot of programs outside. They're very transparent about them. And so if there's any internal things that are not made public, it was not found easily by me, at all. So I'm going to assume that what I found and the research that I did will tie to both. But as I said before, it is an electric company, so they are trying to create these vehicles that will save carbon emissions. And so here we see here that they are doing, 20 million metric tons of carbon emissions being reduced. Right? They are lowering how much carbon they are emitting into the atmosphere each year. And 20 million metric tons is quite a bit. Obviously, it's only one company. If only one company did this much every year, it would not change a single thing for those who are advocating for climate change and things like that. But overall, 20 million metric tons by one company is quite a bit. And then by tackling climate change, they're working on electricity and heat, as well as the transportation sectors. Obviously, they don't control agriculture and the industrial process and so many other things. But on what they do control, they are working very hard to tackle climate change. And so by doing so, they're providing an ecosystem. They're going with batteries, solar, energy storage, which is batteries, but for the thermal heat that the solar panels are providing. They're also working with, obviously, the cars, and they're working with so many things to try to save as much as possible. By the full self-driving cars, they're able to maximize the potential that their cars can give, because we're not gonna a robot's not gonna slam on the gas and constantly brake and take turns hard. They're going to be smooth about their driving. They're going to use the energy that they have inside those batteries to the fullest potential and not waste as much. And so things like that is what Tesla's trying to do within their system of creating and a more energy efficient environment, as well as reducing those carbon emissions. Obviously, we know that these batteries are made from lithium, so there's going to be massive lithium mines like this one shown here. And so they are tackling this. No, they are not getting fossil fuels, but they still have to mine. And we'll get to that later. But they are working really hard to make their mining as efficient, as effective as possible without much damage permanently to the land required. They're also lowering water and waste. They're recycling 90% of the water that they're using. So when they're cleaning parts, or when they're using their CNC machines and things like that to cut parts down and shave stuff off, they are doing their best to recycle as much of that water as possible and reuse it for future use. And so that's really good to see that they're able to save 90% and recycle that. And then EV efficiency, again, they have built electric vehicles that are to be efficient. They can go the same amount of miles a car can go, some of them more, as if they're on gas. And so the good thing about that, I don't know how to make this stay on it, so I'm just gonna have to keep clicking it. But by having these electric vehicles on the road, that's less carbon getting emitted out of the exhaust of these cars, and they're very popular cars. I don't know if you can go pretty much anywhere without seeing a Tesla driven on the road, or some other EV at least, but Tesla specifically. And then batteries. This is more of just like almost like a shot at people that say their batteries are bad. or they're degrading constantly. But really, their batteries, the biggest problem with them is that lithium mining that takes place to make the batteries. But until better solutions come to light, these lithium batteries are being made as efficiently as possible to last as long as possible, so that way they don't have to constantly make new batteries and throw them away, because that would be another environmental problem. I'm not going to go over everything here, but they're doing a lot of things with their factories, lowering energy used. They're doing many, many great things. So here's when we kind of start looking at a little bit of the social aspect, both of employees and customers. And so 49% of total HVAC systems in Gigafactory Nevada are run by dynamic controls. So what's the good thing here? How does that benefit employees? Providing a safe, comfortable workplace allows employees to just work better. They can work longer hours if needed. They're happier when they leave work, when they come into work. So obviously efficiency, greatness, environmentally friendly HVAC systems, terrific. But that's also really good for the social aspect of our corporate social responsibility of just being good about taking care of our employees. And then again, for the customers, just trying to lower the time to charge and lowering how long you have to sit at these charge sites across the U.S. Again, saving money, trying to make these vehicles much cheaper than other electric vehicles and other popular luxury brand vehicles across the U.S. They compare to the BMW X3. You can really compare it to the Rivian. You can compare them to, obviously it's more expensive than the Prius, but all these other Mercedes, BMW brands that are coming out with these electric vehicles, they are priced very competitively and meant to last much longer. And again, this just shows here how many sites they have around the U.S., allowing for more customers to access their sites, again, to be more energy efficient. And then this is the last thing I'll show, but the employees are critical to Tesla's mission. Without the employees, they would not be able to provide the vehicles that they have. We'll get a lot more into the initiatives and things like that with the ESG standards that they've set for themselves, but in terms of employees, Tesla puts a major focus on their employees and wants them to be the reason that Tesla's great, right? Their vehicles are great, sure, but they want their employees to be the reason that people come and work there, that people buy the vehicles. They make them all here. Whatever they have to outsource and supply, sure, but most of the stuff is made here by Americans and by physical employees and not just machines. And so they work really hard to provide competitive pay, great benefits. Again, that HVAC system, providing them safe working conditions. I mean, you can see here that they're staying very safe, right? Hard hats where they're needed, wearing safety vests, right? Lanes of walking versus driving a forklift, things like that. Staying safe and keeping their employees safe is a major thing for Tesla. So that all kind of encompasses their CSR. Again, Tesla treats them both equally, right? Even though CSR is more of an internal thing, it's not reported outwardly, it's not measured by anybody. Their ESG efforts are very closely related and very closely tied. So we're going to jump back over to our slideshow that I created. So we're not on the Tesla website anymore, but this is what I made. So this is the rest of our presentation. So ESG, environmental, social, governance initiatives. So here, again, this is just a nice little picture for you to see it. It's not very good quality. It looks like it is on the recording, but so be it. So environmental, what does it mean? Activities that just overall benefit the environment. Those are going to be things like factories reducing CO2 emissions, switching to cleaner energy, going from fossil fuels to electric, whether that's wind, water, solar, whatever. And even reducing waste, right? Reducing that water waste. Maybe using parts that, if you're cutting things out of a sheet of metal for parts for a car, maybe you're making it so you can fit more on that one sheet so much metal is not getting thrown away. Or refining it, recycling it, and using more, correct? Social. Activities that are going to better the social environment, right? This isn't social media. This isn't anything like that. This is going to be talking about your employees. So providing the better work conditions, giving those livable wages, those competitive wages, and even the amazing competitive benefits. And then again, safe working conditions. So AC, that's not, yeah, it makes it safe to a point, but it doesn't have to be so great that you're sitting in a 65 factory all day. You could be sitting at 72 and be just fine. However, safe work conditions, the hard hats, the safety vests, the lanes of being safe where you're not going to get run over by a forklift, things like that. And then last one, governance. This is going to be all things related to the governing body of the company. How do they react to the direction that the company want to go? How do they show that and portray that? That's going to be with their wages. Are they paid accordingly? You know, are they taking so much pay away from the company that they can't afford to do these ESG activities? Are they also going to give rights to their shareholders? They are a public company, so therefore their investors should have some kind of voting say in you know, board of director votes, in initiative votes, you know, whatever they open up to the company. And then also fighting corruption. They should not allow corruption within their company, whether it's a direct governing body or, you know, it's collusion with governing bodies of actual governments or any political figures, things like that. Just fighting corruption and making sure that it's a good place to work and that it's just an overall good company. So we're going to start with the environmental advocacy part of Tesla. Again, super easy. Everybody can imagine that an EV car company is going to be an environmental advocate because that's kind of what their whole purpose is. So again, they're a car company. That's what they're going to do. So they're working really hard to do more good for the environment than just producing electric cars. They're trying to reduce those emissions. And so they have a purpose statement, and I have it written down verbatim, and I'll read it. And so they said, the very purpose of Tesla's existence is to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy. We believe that the world cannot reduce carbon emissions without addressing both energy generation and consumption. And we are designing and manufacturing a complete energy and transportation ecosystem to achieve this goal. So with this, they want to not only address energy generation, right? The solar panels, things like that, but also the consumption, right? They want to make their batteries efficient. They want to make the storage cells for the solar also efficient. And they want to design and manufacture these ecosystems to be all-encompassing. They want them to work together. If you have the solar panels and you have the storage device, you have the wall charger at your house, you have the EV car, they should all work in tandem to save lots of energy, putting back more onto the grid and doing more things like that. And so what else are they doing for the environment? They're responsibly produced and sourced materials. This is going to be massive because with however many things that they need to source out, whether they go and mine their own lithium or they have a different company do it, or every seat that's in a car is made by Tesla or it's, you know, brought in from another factory from some other company, they want their materials to be responsibly produced and sourced. They do not want companies to have management systems that are corrupt, that are, that would be more social, so I apologize. But they want management systems that are focused on the environmental factors that Tesla puts an emphasis on. So they don't want these factories that are producing millions and millions of tons of CO2 every year just to produce some parts for Tesla. They want them to be working towards efficiency and especially ecosystem efficiency as well. So are they going towards solar, wind? Are they going towards, you know, those renewable energies? Are they trying to save down on water? Are they trying to save down on just overall materials wasted? Tesla wants these suppliers to be really good. And so they also focus on the supplier. So if the seats are not made at Tesla, but then let's say the leather on the seats from the supplier are purchased from somewhere else, they want that factory to also be working towards better environmental change and activities. New factories are being built every year, almost. I don't know the exact number, but they're building factories constantly. And every factory, they are making it more efficient. They're making it more sustainable because they want the next one to be better. And they're learning as they go. And so they are measuring it by per unit waste. So each car, how much waste was produced per car. They're able to lower that each factory they've built. They want to monitor resource consumption. You know, how many times do we have to redo this door or redo this and waste all these materials doing so? And then water and energy usage reductions. They want to lower how much water is being used. So they maybe they started at 50% water recycling, and now they're at 90%. How amazing is that? So just seeing that increase in that recycling of waste and water is great to see. Supply chain efforts are also being made to reduce carbon footprint. So Tesla's working really hard to make their semi-truck viable. And so a lot of suppliers and these companies that are using semi-trucks to deliver are using these products. They're using the solar systems that they're producing. And so they want to work on that supply chain directly that will indirectly affect Tesla's environmental footprint. And so they're working with suppliers, with the dealers, and then in those transportation of materials. Oops, I didn't know I could do that. All right, social change. Again, this is going to be along with with that work safety and just thinking about your employees in the long run. So they have a zero tolerance policy in regards to child or slave labor. Most companies do, but again, we've heard those stories of Nike and Apple and all these other companies possibly having these problems, and Tesla is not playing that game. They are not allowing themselves to get caught up in that. They have a zero tolerance policy in regards to human trafficking. They want their workers to promote increased safety, so they want their workers' help to make each factory safer, and they're measuring it by incidents per vehicle made. So how many people were hurt making one vehicle? And then they also want to make offers that are compelling, have impactful jobs. They want to give the good benefits, things like that. And then they're promoting growth. So 65% of managers were internally promoted within the company, and they're considered the best in the industry. And then 43% of those managers that were promoted internally have been with Tesla for more than 5 years. So it wasn't just hey, we'll bring you in. Hey, we're going to promote you 5 months later, things like that. No, they've been here a while. And then they also want to offer that Tesla ownership through stock options. Okay, so employee learning options. This is going to be more on the social aspect. Again, blurry photo to me. I don't know how blurry it looks for you, but Tesla offers many programs to train up their internal employees and then people that are going to come in later. So they have a technician trainee program. They have a START, which is manufacturing and service. And then, so those are for internal. And then now they have internships, apprenticeships, military fellowships, and transition programs. So military members who are in the military who are transitioning out, they're creating these programs. And then pathway programs for high school and college students to start getting into these programs like STEM and things like that, that will push them towards a Tesla job in the future. All right, governance initiatives. I'm pretty sure this is the active board, but it's really hard to find an active picture of all of them. Obviously, this is not what some of them look like now, because this is not Elon Musk now. But anyway, how is their board defined? So they have created a framework that exercises appropriate oversight of responsibilities at all levels throughout the company. They want, from the board of directors down to each manager at the plants, to be in charge and to work with them. They want managers in charge of their respective areas to be consistent with business ethics and have those high principles. And they want that to go all the way up to the board of directors, as it should. And so Tesla also has an ESG Sustainability Council where they are focused very hard on speaking with the board of directors. They meet with them regularly and they tell them, hey, this is the impacts that we've had. This is how we're working on it. And this is what we need to do better. And so that's pretty great. The compensation committee oversees all of the human capital resources that are being spent, the stock options, the pay. They're making sure that Elon Musk is paid well and not overpaid and being a problem, things like that. So it's a really great program to see that the board of directors is not just making oodles of money and causing problems like that, and they're not actively searching for ways to use their money wisely. And then nominating and corporate governance committee is overseeing just the frameworks and the practices, right? That board composition and diversity, making sure that they have those diverse groups and they're getting all kinds of opinions, and just working with those shareholders on those things. So here are the suggestions. As of this week, Elon Musk's pay was approved. So earlier this week it wasn't, and then it was approved today as of recording. So that's kind of cool. But it was a major debate because a lot of people were talking, hey, that's a lot of money to pay somebody, $57 billion. Why? And so allowing your compensation committee to go out, talk publicly, and speak with these people is something that should be done normally. Allow your company to have its committees come out, speak, and let the public know this is what we want. So then here's another problem. Lithium mining. We know that this is a major problem. It's not going to get fixed because we need the batteries. However, Tesla is currently studying with a team of ecologists the wildlife, the ecology, right? All the plants and the land, things like that, around all the areas of these mining sites. And not only that, but also the factories. They're displacing a lot of wildlife and a lot of vegetation with these. And so they're working really hard to fix the land after they have left. After the mining is over, after this work is done, they want to be able to fix the site as if they were never there. And they have been working on this. My only suggestion to them is to continue to focus on this. Don't introduce new animals, don't introduce new vegetation that's going to take over and become toxic to the environment around it. Continue to do this efficiently and effectively so that way it's not 10 years down the line that you fix the mining site. Maybe it's just a little bit longer. And then just some concluding thoughts. Tesla does many things right in terms of CSR and ESG. They report, they have their disclosure on their 10K, they do many great things. They're an active leader and advocate for green energy and reducing carbon emissions. They work closely with bettering work conditions, benefits, pay, skills, training. They're great at taking care of the employees. Tesla also works with management, board of directors, shareholders. They're working really hard to make sure that their governing body is working towards ESG efforts with every decision that they make. And then lastly, Tesla's continuing efforts to improve the workforce includes grants, donations, charities, things like that, and they're able to provide less fortunate people with these opportunities to have a job, have an education, things like that. And it's really great to see that they are working on that theater of philanthropy and focusing on the next step, right? How do we fix society as a whole? And so they're working really hard to benefit schools and benefit the less fortunate and those charity and nonprofit groups around the world. And so that's Tesla and their CSR and ESG initiatives. Again, I thank you for listening and hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much. Bye.